Hello and welcome back to another video on SW Fight Hub. Just coming on to talk about the man of the moment, Moses Itauma, fresh off another victory this past weekend in Glasgow against Mike Balogun. Obviously, his only prior defeat against that was to Murat Gassiev, obviously former unified world champion at cruiserweight, moving to 12-0 with 10 wins by knockout. Look, the question and the title to this video is Moses Itauma, the best prospect in world boxing. I think you'd be hard pressed to find anybody with more hype and excitement around them in and around that age of sort of 2021 right now. The name that springs to mind, Abdullah Mason. I love watching him fight. He's out again on the Keyshawn Davis Edwin de los Santos undercard next week in Norfolk, Virginia. He's fantastic to watch. We saw him have that couple of round war where he's dropped a few times. Look, with Moses, the question is always going to be out there. What happens when he gets cracked on the chin? And he hasn't been cracked on the chin yet. Look, we're going to find out at some point very soon. I'm pretty sure of that. But, you know, just on the eye test, based on what we've seen so far, you know, his speed is so fast. You know, his power, everything about him for the age of 20. He's not even a fully grown man yet. Give him another 3-4 years. And he's a big heavyweight as well. You know, he's going to be scary good. And yeah, at heavyweight, as with every great heavyweight champion, I'm sure at some point, well, maybe outside of Alexander Usyk, but sure at some point he will get cracked and he will lose. But, you know, you just have to go with what you can see with your two eyes, and he is absolutely phenomenal. Look, I'm glad the talk of the record of Mike Tyson's done now. I think that passed already. I was at one point thinking they were going to put him in with Kubrat Pulev and claim that WBA regular belt as being the fastest ever world champion at heavyweight. Now that would have been terrible. I think Moses himself doesn't strike me as the type of guy that would want to have that on his ledger either. Obviously, he's being guided by the best in the business. Frank Warren, his son Francis, is his manager. Queensbury have got an absolute hotbed of heavyweights in their stable right now. So, look, I know his last three fights are Marius Wack, Dempsey McKean, and Balogun that happened last Saturday. I know he's not fighting the elite heavyweights right now. But I'm ready for him to. I think the shackles should be coming off right now. I know he's 20 years old, but let's see it. You know, let's see the Martin Bakole fight. I want to see him out on the Usyk Dubois card on July 19th. I want to see him in the co-main event in front of 70,000 people, 80,000, whatever it'll be at Wembley Stadium. Get him on that stage. You know, maybe I'm pushing him a little bit too soon, but I heard Francis Warren say they want to be looking at someone like Otto Wallin next. Who cares about that fight, really? Moses drills Otto Wallin. He really does. He drills Derek Chisora, just beat Otto Wallin as well. Actually, if we're being completely honest about it. You know, viable opponents for him on that day. Billy Nelson said Bacole's got something else coming up, so it won't be Martin Bakole. Obviously, Honey and Wardley are fighting next week as well. Either of those would have been a good opponent. You know, what's the extent of Big Baby Miller's injury, pulling him out of the Wardley fight? I know he doesn't deserve the opportunity. That goes without saying, but he'd be a great fight for Moses at this stage of his career because he's so durable. Moses needs rounds. He needs to be hit a couple of times. He needs somebody who can at least take him to a second half of a fight. The run of opponents he's been on, obviously, you know, first, second round knockouts non-stop in his last few fights. He needs somebody who's durable and that can push him. And I don't mean somebody that's just going to sit there and be a punching bag throughout. I mean somebody who's actually going to provide him some level of fight. So we've seen him at this kind of, you know, just under world level fights in his last few. He's well past that level we can see. Now, you know, the top guys in the division, okay, maybe don't put him in with those guys next, even though I believe he could hang with them at this stage. But, you know, just those guys that are maybe fringe top 10-ish. You know, Hrgovic would be a great fight at this stage. I believe he wins that fight. I'm not saying I want to see him fight Hrgovic, but you know, somebody of that level and ilk, I believe Moses Itauma is fully ready to get stuck into that at this stage. But let me know what you think, guys. Is Moses Itauma the best prospect in world boxing right now? If not, who is? As always, thanks for watching.